When Mayor Todd Gloria released his $5.12 billion budget for fiscal year 2024, the so-called Getting It Done plan, he said it reflects the city's top priorities: solving homelessness, upgrading critical infrastructure, improving services, and keeping the city safe. He also said it was balanced and conservative.
It recognizes the potential for an economic slowdown in the next couple of years, and so it is conservative in its spending.
But is the money going to the right things?
Part of the work over the next 2 weeks as I and my office analyze the budget will be determining whether or not it does strike the right tone.
That's Charles Modica, the city's independent budget analyst. His job is to make sure the budget allocates enough money towards the right things, like homelessness. Some have already said it's not enough.
We'll be going through the budget and talking with folks who actually provide those services in the city and out of the city to make sure that the amounts that are added are reasonable and are sufficient to kind of tackle those programs.
Modica says at first glance it does look balanced, but over the next 2 weeks they'll be going over it with a fine-tooth comb and ready an in-depth report. But he already sees an area of concern.
And right now, while the budget as a whole is balanced, it does not appear to be structurally balanced. So next year will need to be either growing city revenues or potentially cutting ongoing costs.
That's because some of the money it relies on to pay for some of the services are one-time sources of income, like the $56 million in federal funds from the American Rescue Plan.
This is the last of the amount that we had allocated that is planned to be used in the proposed budget. In addition to that, we're relying on a little over $60 million in budgetary savings from the current year that we're in right now.
He also says about half of the spending will go to public safety, and that's typical. University of San Diego economics professor Alan Jin says there seems to be the right emphasis on housing and homeless services, but there are some trade-offs when a budget is proposed. And while ideally more money should go to homelessness, there's a lot of money allocated towards overtime because there's a shortage of officers and firefighters.
Yes, money does go to the police, but even so, we're below the typical standard in terms of the police officers per residents. We have about 1.43 police officers per 1,000 residents. The typical standard, or the goal that typically is looked for, is about 2.
But he does warn the city should be cautious in case of a recession that could be looming. But overall,
I think it's balanced in terms of addressing some of the needs that we're facing, and I think it's realistic given the uncertain economic outlook that we're facing.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.